Did you know that your thoughts have the power to build empires or tear them down? Every day, your mind is the battlefield where a silent war is waged, a war that decides whether you live in abundance or in scarcity. This is not just another video. You are about to embark on a transformative journey where we will reveal 25 thoughts that have been keeping you away from prosperity and financial abundance, thoughts that have unknowingly been holding back your potential to achieve limitless wealth. Imagine unlocking the power of your mind to attract the wealth you deserve. You are about to discover how your own beliefs have been shaping your economic reality and how you can transform them to open the doors to a future of unimaginable prosperity. Prepare to challenge what you thought you knew about money and success. Prepare to change your life. Welcome to the revolution. From your financial mindset, abundance awaits you. The belief that money is the root of all evil is a thought deeply rooted in many cultures and philosophies, including certain interpretations of perspective. This concept, often misinterpreted or taken out of context, can have a significant impact on how people view wealth and their relationship with it. First of all, it is important to understand the origin of this phrase. It comes from a biblical quote that says the love of money is the root of all types of evil. The difference is subtle but crucial. It is not money itself that causes evil, but excessive attachment or greed towards it. In a Zen interpretation, this attachment is what generates suffering and imbalance in a person's life. From a Zen perspective, harmony and balance are sought in all aspects of life, including finances. Money itself is neutral. It is simply a means to exchange goods and services. It is the value and intention we assign to it that defines our relationship with it. If we see it as something that must be accumulated at the expense of others or our own integrity, then it becomes a source of suffering and discomfort. On the other hand, if we understand money as a tool that can be used for our own well-being and that of others, it is transformed into something positive. In Zen, mindfulness and compassion are essential. This means being aware of how our actions, including how we earn and spend our money, affect ourselves and the world around us. Using money consciously and compassionately can be an act of generosity and a way to practice Zen principles. Zen also emphasizes the importance of living in the present moment and freeing yourself from unnecessary attachments. This does not mean giving up money or possessions, but rather understanding that our happiness and inner peace do not depend on them. By freeing ourselves from attachment to money, we are able to enjoy its benefits without it controlling our lives or dictating our happiness. Belief number 2, which holds that being rich is incompatible with being a good person, is another perception that can have a negative effect on how people deal with wealth and financial success. This concept, often rooted in cultural biases and misunderstandings, deserves further exploration, especially from a Zen perspective. In many cultures and traditions, there is the notion that wealthy people are inherently selfish, materialistic, or even immoral. This generalization can arise from examples of visible forms of wealth obtained and used unethically. However, this view ignores the complexity of human nature and the many ways in which wealth can be acquired and used. From a Zen point of view, it is not wealth itself that determines the goodness or evil of a person, but their actions and intentions. Zen emphasizes the importance of conscious intentions and actions. A wealthy person who uses their wealth in a compassionate way to help others and contribute to the common good is acting in a manner aligned with ethical and spiritual principles. Additionally, the Zen vision recognizes that wealth is not a permanent state but part of the constant flow of life. Wealth can come and go, and what really matters is how one relates to those changes. The attachment to wealth or identifying oneself with it can be a source of suffering, while an attitude of detachment and gratitude, regardless of the financial situation, is more conducive to inner peace and harmony. It is also important to recognize that wealth is not only material. In many spiritual traditions, including Zen, true wealth is found in qualities such as inner peace, compassion, wisdom, and connection with others. From this perspective, facilitating a life of abundance requires understanding and cultivating these inner qualities. In conclusion, as you embark on this journey of self-discovery and transformation, keep in mind that your thoughts shape your reality. Challenge limiting beliefs and open yourself to the vast possibilities that the power of your mind can unlock. Abundance is not just about financial wealth, it encompasses the richness of a fulfilled and balanced life. Embrace the wisdom of Zen, practice mindfulness, and let go of unnecessary attachments. Your journey toward prosperity and inner peace begins now. A person can be considered rich in a spiritual sense regardless of their financial situation. The third belief assumes that poverty is a necessary virtue for spiritual growth. It is a concept that can significantly influence how people perceive the relationship between spirituality and the material state. This idea, although rooted in some spiritual traditions, deserves a review from the Zen perspective. In various spiritual and philosophical traditions, the idea has been promoted that to achieve a high degree of spiritual development, it is necessary to renounce material possessions and live in poverty. This concept is often based on the notion that attachment to material things is an obstacle to spiritual growth and enlightenment. However, from a non-poverty perspective, in itself, it is neither a virtue nor a necessary condition for spiritual growth. Rather, what is emphasized is the importance of detachment and understanding of the impermanent nature of all things, including material wealth. Detachment does not necessarily mean living in poverty, rather, it is about not allowing material goods to control our lives and our decisions. Zen teaches that the true source of wealth is not material but is found in inner peace and clarity. This involves recognizing that neither wealth nor poverty are permanent states and that they should not be the main focus of our lives. True wealth in this sense is a wealth of spirit characterized by compassion, wisdom, and connection with others. In addition, Zen does not promote the idea that material deprivation is necessary for enlightenment. Instead, it teaches the importance of living in the present moment, appreciating and consciously using the resources we have at our disposal, whether many or few. The key is the attitude with which both wealth and poverty are approached and the ability to maintain equanimity and gratitude in any circumstance. The belief that poverty is a necessary virtue for spiritual growth is a simplification that does not exist. It reflects the Zen perspective of balance and detachment. The important thing is not the amount of material possessions you have, but the attitude and awareness with which you live. The fourth belief, feeling that you do not deserve economic abundance, is a limiting thought that can have a profound negative impact on how people approach prosperity and financial success. This concept, rooted in low self-esteem and a misperception of personal worth, appears to be explored from a Zen perspective. At the core of this belief is the idea that we are not good enough, valuable, or worthy of experiencing prosperity. This feeling of unworthiness may be the result of past experiences, cultural messages, or internalized beliefs about money and wealth. From a Zen perspective, this view is based on a misunderstanding of our true self and our relationship with the world. Zen teaches that each person has intrinsic value and that we are all an integral part of the universe. There is no fundamental reason why someone does not deserve abundance. In fact, Zen promotes the idea that living in harmony with the universe includes accepting and appreciating all forms of abundance that life offers, including economic abundance. Zen also emphasizes the importance of living in the present moment and recognizing that our thoughts and beliefs are just that. Thoughts and beliefs are not reality. By observing and questioning our limiting beliefs about deservingness and wealth, we can begin to free ourselves from them and open ourselves to new possibilities. In practice, by cultivating self-awareness and compassion towards oneself and towards others, this implies understanding that deserving is not something that is gained or lost based on our past actions, but is a state of being. By recognizing and accepting our own worth, we can allow ourselves to experience abundance in all its forms, including economic, without feeling guilty or unworthy. Zen also teaches us to find the balance between effort and acceptance. While it is important to work towards our goals, including financial ones, it is also crucial to accept and appreciate what we already have. This balance between doing and being is key to living a full and abundant life. The belief that we do not deserve financial abundance is a reflection of a misperception of ourselves and our relationship with abundance. The fifth belief, being afraid of losing money as soon as you get it, is a common fear that can paralyze a person's ability to manage their wealth effectively and enjoy their prosperity. This fear of loss is deeply rooted in insecurity and uncertainty and deserves to be examined from a Zen perspective. This fear often originates in the belief that security and happiness depend on the amount of money we have. At a deeper level, this fear can be linked to a feeling of scarcity and the worry of not being able to meet basic needs or maintain a certain lifestyle. These fears can be exacerbated by past experiences of financial instability or cultural messages about the importance of financial success. From a Zen perspective, the fear of losing money can be seen as a manifestation of attachment and a lack of understanding of the impermanent nature of all things, including wealth. Zen teaches that everything in life is transitory, and attachment to anything, including money, is a source of suffering. By recognizing and accepting impermanence, we can begin to free ourselves from fear and live with greater peace and serenity. Zen's practice involves cultivating consciousness, fullness, and presence in the current moment. By being fully present and aware, we can manage our finances with clarity and wisdom without being driven by fear. This does not mean being negligent or irresponsible with money, but rather understanding that our well-being does not depend exclusively on financial security. Zen encourages us to look beyond material circumstances and find the true source of security and happiness within ourselves. This involves developing qualities such as resilience, gratitude, and compassion that are independent of our financial situation. The practice of gratitude is especially relevant here. By focusing on what we have and being grateful for it, instead of constantly worrying about what we might lose, we cultivate an attitude of abundance that can mitigate the fear of scarcity. The sixth belief, viewing the financial success of others with envy instead of inspiration, is a thought that can generate negative feelings and limit our own ability to achieve success. This point of view, rooted in comparison and competition, deserves examination from a Zen perspective. In many cultures, the success and wealth of others are often seen as a reminder of what one has not achieved. This can lead to feelings of envy, resentment, or inadequacy. However, from a sensitized perspective, this way of thinking is based on a misperception of the nature of wealth and success, as well as a misguided understanding of our relationship with others. Zen teaches that we are all interconnected and that constant comparison with others is a source of suffering. Instead of seeing the success of others as a threat or a reflection of our own shortcomings, we can choose to see it as a source of inspiration and an example of what is possible. This involves recognizing that a person's success does not diminish our own opportunities or value. In addition, Zen emphasizes the importance of focusing on one's path and personal development. Each person has their own unique journey, and what works for one won't necessarily work for another. Instead of envying the success of others, we can learn from their experiences and apply those learnings to our own lives in ways that are authentic and meaningful to us. Practice also encourages us to cultivate empathic joy, that is, the ability to genuinely rejoice in the successes and achievements of others. This mindset shift from envy to inspiration can open doors to personal growth and a more positive outlook on our own journey. This attitude not only frees us from the weight of envy but also connects us more deeply with others and allows us to appreciate the wealth and diversity of human experience. By observing the success of others from a perspective of learning and growth rather than comparison and competition, we open the door to greater personal satisfaction and success. This is especially relevant in the financial field where creativity and innovation often arise from inspiration and collaboration rather than rivalry and isolation. The seventh belief, believing that money corrupts character and spirituality, is a common view that can negatively influence how people perceive wealth and its impact on personal and spiritual development. This concept, rooted in distrust of materialism and economic success, deserves to be examined from a Zen perspective. This belief suggests that the accumulation of wealth or interest in money inevitably leads to moral degradation or a departure from spiritual values. However, from a Zen point of view, this perspective omits the complexity of the human relationship with money and wealth. Zen does not see money in itself as good or bad, but rather considers the intention and way in which the money is used. The intention and actions with money are what determine its ethical and spiritual value. In philosophy, the importance of balance and conscious intention is emphasized. The possession of money or goods is not inherently corrupting, rather, it is excessive attachment to them or the use of money in a harmful or selfish way that can lead to ethical and spiritual problems. Money, when handled with wisdom and compassion, can be a powerful tool for good. Zen also teaches the practice of self-observation and mindfulness. By being aware of our attitudes and actions related to money, we can better understand our motivations and prevent the desire for wealth from diverting us from our deepest values and objectives. This awareness allows us to use wealth in a way that is aligned with our ethical and spiritual principles. In addition, Zen recognizes that generosity in the sharing of money and resources can be used to support others, contribute to community well-being, and promote practices and projects that are in harmony with spiritual values. In this sense, money can be an expression of our interconnectedness and mutual responsibility. Instead of viewing wealth as something that inevitably corrupts the soul, it encourages us to see it as something that, managed with wisdom and compassion, has the potential to support personal and spiritual growth. The key is to maintain a healthy balance and a conscious perspective, recognizing both opportunities and challenges, as well as the responsibilities that come with wealth. The eighth belief, thinking that asking for more money is being greedy or selfish, is a view that can limit people's ability to seek financial improvement and recognize their own value. This concept, rooted in guilt and misunderstanding of desire and ambition, deserves exploration from a Zen perspective. This point of view suggests that desiring more money or striving for it is intrinsically negative, associated with greed and selfishness. However, from a Zen approach, ambition and desire are neither good nor bad in themselves. What matters is the intention behind these desires and how you act to achieve them. Zen philosophy emphasizes the importance of intention and mindfulness in all areas of life, including finances. Seeking financial improvement does not need to be motivated solely by greed or selfishness. It can be a legitimate aspiration to improve the quality of life for oneself and others, provide security for the family, support charitable causes, or allow for greater freedom and opportunities in life. In addition, Zen teaches that each person has value and deserves to live a full and satisfying life, including the ability to seek and obtain resources that allow one to live with dignity and realize one's aspirations. Asking for more money or aspiring to a better financial situation can be a way to recognize and affirm personal value. It is also important to differentiate between healthy ambition and excessive greed. While greed implies an insatiable desire that is never satisfied and often leads to suffering, healthy ambition is balanced with the recognition of sufficiency and gratitude for what one already has. Zen philosophy also promotes the idea that happiness and satisfaction should not depend exclusively on external factors such as material wealth. Although it is natural and legitimate to desire a better financial situation, it is crucial to find peace and happiness in the present regardless of material circumstances. The ninth belief, feeling uncomfortable when talking about money or dealing with financial matters, is a common attitude that can lead to the avoidance of important topics related to financial management and economic planning. This discomfort, rooted in cultural taboos, lack of financial literacy, or personal insecurity, deserves examination from a Zen perspective. In many cultures, talking about money is considered taboo or inappropriate, resulting in a general lack of communication and understanding about personal finances. This silence and avoidance can lead to financial problems due to a lack of knowledge or misunderstanding in personal and professional relationships. From a Zen point of view, open and conscious communication is essential in all aspects of life, including finances. Avoiding talking about money not only prevents the resolution of financial problems but may also reflect an emotional attachment or aversion to money. Recognizing and confronting these feelings can be an important step toward a healthier, more balanced relationship with finances. Zen teaches the importance of mindfulness and presence in the present moment when applying these principles in finance. This approach enables individuals to address monetary matters with calm clarity and objectivity, fostering self-awareness and personal growth. In addition to open dialogue, Zen promotes the idea that there is no aspect of life that should be excluded from the practice of mindfulness. This includes money management, which, when approached consciously, becomes a practice of self-knowledge and personal growth. By facing insecurities or discomforts regarding money, individuals can learn about their beliefs, habits, and values. Open dialogue about money can also foster more honest and transparent relationships, both personally and professionally. Communicating openly about financial issues establishes clear expectations, resolves conflicts, and fosters collaboration in common goals and projects. The 10th belief, believing that wealth only comes through hard work and suffering, is a concept that can lead to a distorted view of work, success, and prosperity. Rooted in many cultures and belief systems, this idea suggests that wealth is the exclusive result of strenuous effort and is often associated with personal sacrifice and renunciation. This concept deserves exploration from a Zen perspective. Firstly, it is essential to recognize the value of hard work and dedication as positive qualities that can lead to success in various areas of life, including finances. However, the belief that wealth is only obtained through suffering ignores other crucial factors such as creativity, intelligence, opportunity, and privilege that can also lead to success. This belief can contribute to an unhealthy relationship with work and money, where success is measured solely in terms of effort and sacrifice. From a Zen perspective, balance and harmony are emphasized in all areas of life, including finding a healthy balance between work and rest, effort and relaxation. In Zen, work is not seen as a means to an end, such as wealth, but as a practice in itself that can be enriching and satisfying. The Zen philosophy also emphasizes the importance of intention and mindfulness in all actions, including work. This means approaching work with a mindful attitude, focusing on the process and the activity itself rather than just the results or financial reward. Such a perspective can lead to greater satisfaction at work and a sense of purpose and fulfillment that goes beyond material rewards. Additionally, Zen recognizes that wealth and prosperity can manifest in various ways, not just in financial terms. Wealth can include enriching relationships, valuable life experiences, health, creativity, and a sense of peace and well-being. These aspects of wealth are equally important and often do not require the same type of effort and sacrifice associated with accumulating financial wealth. The 11th belief, thinking that you are not smart or capable enough to be prosperous, is a limiting vision that can negatively impact self-esteem and the ability to achieve financial success. This concept, rooted in insecurity and lack of self-confidence, deserves examination from a sensical perspective. This belief is based on the idea that prosperity and financial success are reserved only for those with certain abilities, intelligence, or special talents. It may stem from comparisons with others, past experiences of failure, or negative messages received during personal development. However, from a Zen perspective, this way of thinking does not recognize each individual's inherent ability to grow and change. In the Zen philosophy, the idea that everyone has unlimited potential is central. The practice of Zen focuses on self-discovery and self-acceptance, promoting the idea that all individuals are capable of learning, evolving, and achieving their goals, including those related to wealth and prosperity. This involves a focus on personal development and continuous growth rather than fixating on perceived limitations. Zen teaches the importance of living in the present moment and approaching each situation with an open mind and a heart willing to learn. By adopting this attitude, people can overcome self-imposed barriers and open themselves to new possibilities and opportunities. Instead of focusing on what they believe they lack, they can concentrate on developing the skills and knowledge necessary to achieve their financial goals. Zen promotes the idea that intelligence and ability are not static but can be developed through conscious effort, practice, and experience. This aligns with the growth mindset, which holds that skills and intelligence can expand and strengthen with time and practice. It is also important to recognize that prosperity does not depend solely on intelligence or ability in the traditional sense. Factors such as creativity, flexibility, perseverance, and the ability to relate to others are equally important and can be cultivated by anyone. The 12th belief, assuming that rich people are lucky and you are not, is a perception that can generate feelings of disadvantage and resentment, limiting the motivation and ability to pursue financial success. This idea, rooted in the notion that wealth is primarily the result of luck or destiny, deserves exploration from a Zen perspective. This belief centers on the idea that wealth and financial success are primarily the result of external factors beyond our control, such as luck, destiny, or birth into privileged circumstances. Although these factors can play a role, this vision ignores the impact of personal actions, decisions, and attitude. From a Zen perspective, a more balanced and empowering vision is promoted. Instead of attributing financial success solely to luck, Zen suggests that each individual has an active role in creating their own reality. This implies recognizing that, although we cannot control all the circumstances of our lives, we do have control over our reactions, decisions, and efforts. Zen teaches the importance of personal responsibility and self-efficacy. Instead of seeing others as lucky and oneself as unlucky, people are encouraged to look inward and explore how they can positively influence their financial situation. This includes taking conscious actions toward financial goals, learning and adapting from experiences, and maintaining a positive and proactive attitude. Additionally, Zen highlights the importance of living in the present moment and appreciating what we already have. Focusing on perceived lack or injustice may lead us to overlook the opportunities and resources already available to us. Practicing gratitude and recognizing our own strengths and achievements can be a powerful antidote to feelings of disadvantage. Zen also encourages us to see the interconnection between all beings and situations. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, we can learn from them and find inspiration in their stories. Recognizing that each person has their own unique path can help us focus on our own journey and possibilities instead of feeling trapped in comparisons. The 13th belief, believing that life is a constant struggle and that money will always be lacking, is a vision that can generate a scarcity mentality and limit a person's ability to experience abundance and prosperity. This view, rooted in a negative and limiting perception of life and finances, deserves examination from a Zen perspective. This belief is based on the idea that life is inherently difficult and that resources, especially money, are always insufficient. This view may stem from personal experiences of scarcity, cultural messages about the hardness of life, or internalized beliefs about the nature of success and wealth. However, from a Zen perspective, it recognizes the changing nature of life and the possibility of a more balanced and satisfying existence. In Zen philosophy, it is taught that reality is impermanent and constantly changing, applying to both difficult situations and those of abundance. The belief in a constant struggle is a form of attachment to a particular vision of life, an attachment that, according to Zen, is the cause of suffering. By recognizing and accepting impermanence, we can begin to free ourselves from the mentality of struggle and scarcity. Zen also emphasizes the importance of mindfulness and attention to the present moment. By being fully present and aware, we can see our circumstances more clearly, recognize the opportunities presented to us, and respond more effectively. This awareness helps us break the cycle of negative thoughts and open ourselves to new possibilities of abundance and prosperity. Additionally, Zen promotes the practice of gratitude by focusing on what we already have instead of what we lack. By cultivating a sense of abundance, this attitude of gratitude can change our perspective on life and finances, helping us recognize and appreciate the many forms of wealth that already exist in our lives. The belief that you do not have the right to live a life full of abundance is a perspective that can profoundly limit a person's sense of deservingness and ability to accept and seek prosperity. This point of view, rooted in feelings of unworthiness or limiting beliefs about what one deserves exploration from a Zen perspective. This belief often originates from low self-esteem or internalized negative messages received throughout life that suggest we are not worthy of success or happiness. It may be influenced by past experiences, social comparisons, or even cultural or religious doctrines. However, from a Zen perspective, this way of thinking does not reflect the true nature of a human being or their relationship with the universe. Zen teaches that all beings are inherently worthy and valuable. There is nothing we must do or be to earn the right to happiness, peace, or abundance. These are natural conditions of life available to everyone, regardless of their past or current circumstances. Zen also emphasizes the importance of self-acceptance and self-compassion. By recognizing and accepting our own imperfections and limitations, we can begin to free ourselves from limiting beliefs that tell us we do not deserve abundance. This process of self-acceptance is key to developing a sense of deservingness and opening ourselves to a full and rich life. Additionally, the practice of mindfulness helps us live in the present moment and appreciate the abundances that already exist in our lives by focusing on what we have instead of what we lack. We can cultivate a sense of gratitude and fulfillment, which is essential to recognize our right to abundance. The 14th belief, thinking that money will change you negatively, is a perspective that can create fear and resistance towards the acquisition of wealth and financial success. This point of view, based on the concern that wealth can corrupt or alter personal values, deserves examination from a Zen perspective. This belief often arises from the idea that money and wealth lead to greed, selfishness, or a disconnection from spiritual or moral values. It can be fueled by examples of people who have used their wealth irresponsibly or unethically. However, from a Zen perspective, this way of thinking fails to recognize that money is simply a tool and that its impact depends on how it is used. Zen teaches that everything in life, including money, is neutral in itself. What matters is the intention and the use we give it. Money can be used to generate a positive impact, such as supporting charitable causes, improving the lives of others, or developing projects that contribute to overall well-being. The key is to maintain a conscious and balanced approach to money, seeing it as a means to do good rather than an end in itself. Zen also emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and introspection. By being aware of our attitudes and beliefs about money, we can prevent it from changing us negatively. This involves being attentive to how our financial decisions reflect our deepest values and goals and being willing to adjust our approach if necessary. Additionally, the Zen practice of non-attachment plays a crucial role in the relationship with money. By cultivating a sense of detachment, we can enjoy the benefits of money without letting it control our lives or dictate our happiness. This allows us to maintain our integrity and values regardless of our financial situation. The 15th belief, believing that there is virtue in extreme simplicity and rejecting improvements in your life, is a concept that can lead to unnecessary renunciation of prosperity and well-being. This approach, rooted in the idea that extreme austerity is intrinsically virtuous or spiritually superior, deserves examination from a Zen perspective. This belief may originate in the idea that material detachment and extreme simplicity are requirements for a spiritually rich or ethical life. Although simplicity and detachment have an important place in many spiritual practices, including Zen, taking these concepts to the extreme can result in unnecessary denial of the comforts and opportunities that life offers. From a Zen perspective, balance and moderation are emphasized. Simplicity is not about depriving yourself of all pleasure or comfort, but about finding a middle ground between excess and deprivation. It is about recognizing what we really need to live satisfyingly and meaningfully without falling into unbridled consumerism or extreme austerity. Zen also teaches the importance of intention and awareness in our choices. Choosing a simpler life can be a conscious and meaningful decision, but rejecting improvements in life simply because they are perceived as materialistic can be a form of attachment in itself. Genuine detachment involves an openness to all of life's experiences, including acceptance of abundance and comfort when they arise. Additionally, Zen recognizes that each person has their own path, and what is right for one may not be right for another. Simplicity for one person may mean something very different for another. It is important for each individual to explore and define what simplicity means. Zen practice also includes gratitude and appreciation for the blessings that life offers. This means recognizing and valuing the improvements and opportunities that present themselves in our lives by seeing them as part of the natural flow of give and take in the universe. The 16th belief, thinking that it is not possible to be spiritually aware and have material wealth, is a view that can create a false dilemma between spiritual development and material prosperity. This concept, rooted in the idea that spirituality and wealth are mutually exclusive, deserves to be examined from a Zen perspective. The 17th belief, based on the notion that material wealth distracts or corrupts the spiritual path, leading to a focus on the material rather than the spiritual, deserves examination from a Zen perspective. This belief suggests that true spirituality encompasses all aspects of life, including the management of material wealth. It is not about rejecting wealth or living in poverty, but about how one relates to wealth and how one uses it. The key is detachment and the conscious intention to have wealth without being attached to it, and to use it in a way that is aligned with spiritual values and principles. Zen promotes a balanced approach to life where the material and the spiritual are not seen as opposites but as complementary. Material prosperity can be seen as a blessing that, when managed wisely, can support spiritual growth and be used for the well-being of others. This includes practicing generosity and using resources to help those in need and support causes that promote peace, compassion, and harmony. Additionally, Zen emphasizes the importance of mindfulness in all activities, including those related to obtaining and managing wealth. By being fully present and conscious in our financial decisions, we can make decisions that are not only financially sound but also ethically and spiritually responsible. Zen also recognizes that each person has their own unique path. For some, giving up material wealth can be an important part of their spiritual journey, while for others, managing wealth consciously and compassionately may be an expression of their spiritual practice. The 18th belief, assuming that you must suffer greatly to be considered humble, is a perspective that can lead to a false equivalence between humility and economic hardship. This approach, rooted in the idea that financial suffering is a form of virtue or an indicator of genuine humility, deserves examination from a Zen perspective. This belief may originate in doctrines or cultural interpretations that associate poverty with moral virtue or humility. It is often based on the idea that suffering or deprivation leads to greater spiritual or moral growth. However, from a Zen perspective, this association is not necessarily valid. Zen teaches that humility is not a matter of financial circumstances, but rather of attitude and awareness. In Zen, humility is understood as a recognition of our interconnectedness with others and with the world, and an awareness of our own limitations and the transitory nature of life. This form of humility can be practiced in any circumstance, whether in abundance or scarcity. The important thing is not the amount of resources one has, but the attitude with which one relates to those resources and to others. The 19th belief, believing that destiny is the only one that decides your financial situation, is a perspective that can lead to a feeling of helplessness and resignation regarding one's ability to influence one's financial situation. The 20th belief, thinking that speaking or dreaming about wealth is materialistic and unspiritual, is a perspective that can limit a person's ability to recognize and pursue their financial goals. This approach, based on the idea that interest in wealth is inherently contrary to spiritual or ethical values, deserves to be explored from a Zen perspective. This belief may originate from the notion that spirituality and materialism are mutually exclusive. From a Zen point of view, this perspective is challenged. Zen recognizes that one's relationship with wealth is not inherently opposed to spiritual or ethical values. Instead, it emphasizes the importance of intention and mindfulness in all aspects of life, including financial pursuits. The practice of speaking or dreaming about wealth is not dismissed as materialistic, but rather, it is seen as an opportunity for self-reflection and conscious intention setting. Zen encourages individuals to align their financial goals with their deeper values and ethical principles. Moreover, Zen philosophy does not view material possessions or aspirations as inherently detrimental to spiritual growth. Instead, it highlights the significance of how one engages with and perceives wealth. By practicing mindfulness and maintaining a conscious approach to financial matters, individuals can pursue their financial goals with clarity and integrity. Zen promotes the idea that a healthy relationship with wealth involves recognizing its impermanence and using it as a tool for personal and collective well-being. This holistic perspective encourages individuals to explore and express their financial aspirations in a manner that aligns with their spiritual and ethical values. The 21st belief, feeling that abundance is for others but not for you, is a perspective that can lead to feelings of inadequacy and limit a person's ability to reach their financial potential. This focus on a scarcity mindset and the belief that one is not deserving or capable of achieving prosperity deserves to be examined from a Zen perspective. This belief may originate from past experiences of deprivation, comparisons to the achievements of others, or internalized negative messages about one's own worth and ability, leading to a lack of action and resignation. From a Zen perspective, it is recognized that all beings have intrinsic value and the ability to achieve fulfillment in all areas of life, including the financial aspect. In some traditions and cultures, there is a promotion of the idea that true spirituality requires rejecting or minimizing interest in material things, including finances. However, from a Zen perspective, this dichotomy between spirituality and materialism is not necessarily valid or useful. Zen teachings emphasize that spirituality encompasses all aspects of life, including the relationship with money and wealth. The approach is not about rejecting the material world but about understanding how to relate to it in a conscious and balanced way. Whether one speaks or dreams about wealth is not inherently materialistic. What matters is the intention and purpose behind that interest. Zen promotes a balanced approach to life where material and spiritual goals are seen as complementary parts of the human experience. Recognizing and pursuing financial goals can be a legitimate and healthy part of life, as long as it is done consciously and in harmony with personal and spiritual values. Zen also underscores the importance of mindfulness and presence in all areas of life, including attitudes and beliefs about money. Approaching finances with a mindful attitude enables individuals to make decisions that are not only financially beneficial but also aligned with personal and spiritual growth. Zen philosophy acknowledges that dreams and aspirations, including those related to wealth, are a natural part of the human condition. Such dreams can serve as sources of motivation and direction, guiding individuals to define their goals and work toward them constructively and consciously. Zen teaches that the limitations we perceive in ourselves are often mental constructs that can be overcome through the practice of self-awareness and personal transformation. Zen promotes the idea that abundance is not only a material state but also a mental and spiritual state. By changing our scarcity mentality to one of abundance, we begin to see opportunities and possibilities where before we saw barriers. This involves recognizing and being grateful for what we already have, as well as being open to receiving and creating more in our lives. In addition to the Zen practice of mindfulness and presence in the current moment, which can help us identify and challenge limiting beliefs about our ability to achieve abundance. By being present and aware, we can make clearer and more effective decisions that guide us toward our financial goals. Zen also teaches the interconnection of all beings and situations. Recognizing this interconnection allows us to understand that abundance is not a zero-sum game where the success of one means the loss of another. Instead, we can see how our own prosperity can benefit others and how we can support each other in our efforts towards abundance. The second belief, believing that it is not possible to balance a life rich in spiritual values with one rich in material goods, is a perspective that can create a false dilemma between spiritual development and material prosperity. This approach, based on the idea that the spiritual and the material are inherently opposites and cannot coexist harmoniously, deserves to be examined from a Zen perspective. This belief often arises from the notion that spirituality requires a total renunciation or rejection of the material, and that the accumulation or enjoyment of material goods can be distractions or even obstacles on the spiritual path. However, from a Zen perspective, it is recognized that spirituality and materiality are aspects of the human experience that can be integrated in a balanced and harmonious way. Zen teaches that the key to a balanced life is full attention and awareness in all actions, including those related to the material. It is not about rejecting or devaluing the material, but rather relating to it in a conscious and balanced way. This means being aware of our material needs and desires and satisfying them in a way that is aligned with our spiritual and ethical values. Zen also promotes the practice of non-attachment. This practice involves enjoying and appreciating material goods without depending on them for our happiness or identity. By cultivating an attitude of non-attachment, we can enjoy material abundance without it controlling or defining us. Zen also teaches that true wealth is not found only in the accumulation of goods but in the quality of our lives and relationships. A life rich in spiritual values such as compassion, generosity, and inner peace can be enriched with material goods as long as these are seen as tools to live more fully and to help others. The 23rd belief, thinking that giving up material desires is the only path to enlightenment, is a perspective that can lead to an extremely ascetic interpretation of spirituality and an unnecessary denial of material comforts and pleasures. This approach, rooted in the idea that material deprivation is essential for spiritual growth, deserves to be examined from a Zen perspective. This belief may originate in certain interpretations of spiritual traditions that value renunciation and asceticism as means to achieve greater spiritual understanding or enlightenment. However, from a Zen perspective, the relationship with the material is seen in a more balanced way and not as a strict dichotomy between the spiritual and the material. In Zen, it is taught that enlightenment or spiritual awakening does not necessarily depend on the total renunciation of material desires. Rather, it is about understanding and living in accordance with the transitory and insubstantial nature of all things. Attachment, where one can enjoy the material aspects of life without depending on them for happiness or identity, is promoted. Zen promotes an approach to life that integrates the spiritual and the material in a conscious and balanced way, recognizing that material wants and needs are a natural part of the human experience and can be fulfilled in ways that are aligned with spiritual values and practice. Furthermore, Zen emphasizes the importance of mindfulness and presence in all activities, including those related to the material world. When approaching our interactions with the material world in full awareness, we can better understand our true needs and desires and how to satisfy them in a way that supports our spiritual growth. The 7th belief, assuming that poverty is a sign of spiritual purity, is a perspective that can idealize economic deprivation and associate it erroneously with greater virtue or spiritual development. This approach, rooted in the belief that there is a direct correlation between material poverty and spiritual wealth, deserves to be examined from a Zen perspective. This belief may originate in interpretations of various spiritual traditions that value simplicity and detachment from the material as a means to achieve greater understanding or spiritual enlightenment. However, from a Zen perspective, the relationship between economic situation and spirituality is seen in a more nuanced way. In Zen, it is taught that spirituality does not depend on the economic state. Spiritual purity or progress is not necessarily linked to the amount of material goods one possesses or rejects. Rather, it is about how one relates to those goods and to the material world in general. Zen promotes an approach to life that focuses on mindfulness and detachment. This does not necessarily mean living in poverty, but rather living with an attitude of non-attachment to material goods, understanding that they are not the source of true happiness or spiritual well-being. You can have material possessions and still practice detachment, using these goods consciously and responsibly and without them defining our identity or spiritual value. In addition, Zen recognizes the importance of satisfying basic needs and living a balanced life. Extreme deprivation is not seen as an ideal, but rather a balance is sought between material and spiritual needs. Extreme poverty that prevents satisfying basic needs can be an obstacle to spiritual development, as it can generate unnecessary suffering and distraction. Zen also teaches the interconnection of all beings and compassion as a central value. From this perspective, poverty is not idealized but recognized as a reality that requires attention and compassion. The idea of helping others overcome poverty and working towards a more equitable and compassionate society is promoted. Now that we have gone through this transformative journey together, discovering the 25 thoughts that may be preventing you from achieving financial abundance and prosperity, you are on the cusp of a new dawn in your economic life. You are the architect of your financial destiny. Wealth and abundance are not just dreams, they are achievable destinations. Undertake this journey with confidence, determination, and an open mind to the infinite possibilities that await you. Narrator with a warm and hopeful parting tone, thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment. The path to abundance is clear. Now take the first step to be the architects of prosperity.